The HP Spectre x360 15-inch laptop is in a class all its own. Today I'll tell you where it fits in on the laptop spectrum and whether or not it's worth the money. Stay tuned. Let's talk a little bit about what this laptop is and what it's not. 15-inch laptops tend to be quad-core machines. This, however, is dual-core, so it's best to think of it as an Ultrabook that's in a 15-inch body. It's very similar to the x360 13-inch. You're just getting more screen real estate with a 4K display and active pen, as well as a 940MX dedicated GPU, which is a nice bonus. All right, let's get into the specifications. We're talking Intel Core i7 7500U CPU. That is Kaby Lake. It's dual core. It's one of the latest out there. You can also get up to 16 gigs of RAM, although there's a configuration that starts at 8 gigs of RAM. For storage, you're talking about 256, 512, or 1 terabyte SSD. It's a pretty performant SSD, but it's a Toshiba one and it's a little bit older. I didn't care for the speeds too much of it. However, you can replace it. It's a little tricky, but it can be done. When it comes to the display, HP is using a 4K IPS, and that's a little bit different. Last year they had a 4K option, but they also had a full HD one as well. As it turns out, a lot of people prefer 4K and 15-inch, but what they didn't like was the battery life. And so that's what they addressed this year with this version. It has a larger battery, but they kept only the 4K display, so there's no full HD. I really like this display. It's very good. The color gamut is great. It's about 72%, and they say it's 340 nits for brightness. I had no issues with it. It is glossy, so keep that in mind. It's not too saturated either, which I really like. This is not like a Samsung OLED display where it's going to be really, really contrasty. Instead, it's very neutral, and I think it looks really good here. Another cool feature of this laptop is it comes with an active stylus. That's very much like the Surface. So this is not a Bluetooth pen, but Intrig. And in fact, it works with the Intrig Universal pen that should be coming out later this year. It's a very good pen. I had no issues with it. It does have 2 buttons that are configurable. It's not quite as good as the Surface one, but it does feel very similar, and it's in the box. That's a cool thing to have. Let's talk about this GPU. So what makes this laptop really unique is it comes with an NVIDIA GTX 940MX with 2 gigabytes of video memory. That sounds impressive. Of course, it's an old GPU, and I want to put this in perspective here. What it's really doing is giving you a little extra oomph for that 4K display. Think of it for your browser and office apps. It's not a gaming laptop. Sure, it'll help there. Pinball Effects 2 plays great, but you really don't want to use this for a first-person shooter. When it comes to ports, HP did a really good job here. They give you a little bit of everything. So you have a classic USB Type-A for your legacy devices and thumb drives. You also have a headphone jack. You have the power button right here. You can see it flashing to let you know it's in sleep mode. You have your intake vent for cooling. This device does have 2 fans in it. You have a full SD card reader, so there is your slight to Apple and their MacBook Pro fans. Coming to this side, you do get 2 USB Type-C ports. One is full Thunderbolt 3. The other one is just 3.1. Both do data and power. However, only one of them will do your full display out, but that's not a big deal either because they do give you a full HDMI port here. That's HDMI 2.0. You also have your secondary vents here as well as a volume rocker. When it comes to the design, the 15-inch version very much resembles the HP Spectre x360 13-inch. The one difference, of course, is it now comes in this ash color along with these sort of copper gold accents, which look really nice. It does pick up fingerprints. It's not too bad. It's definitely better than the Razer Blade, which picks up a lot of fingerprints, but you'll occasionally want to wipe it down. You do get that exclusive Spectre hinge, which I think looks absolutely fantastic with the rolled edges here. It's a really nice design, but I'll show you there is a price to pay for having an x360 device in a few moments. Of course, the sides are very clean, and it's very symmetrical with these intake vents. Looking at the bottom here, HP did a very good job of keeping things clean. There are some FCC markings as well as some tiny screws which blend in very well. Otherwise, it doesn't really matter. You can also see this giant intake vent here. There are 2 fans on each side. It does a very good job of keeping this device cool. In fact, it never really got hot at all. You also have these rubber feet here, which are really nice to give you clearance for keeping the device cool. When it comes to weight, it's a 4.4-pound machine, which is about 2 kilograms. Now, it's not the lightest machine out there, but it's CNC aluminum metal throughout. In other words, it feels substantial and feels really good to hold. It feels like a quality device, and that weight reflects that. I think HP did a good job here, especially with that larger battery. Trying to open it one-handed, unfortunately, you're going to struggle there. You do need to use 2 hands to keep the base down. Otherwise, it opens pretty nicely. Speaking of that hinge, it works very well. However, there is one issue with it being so heavy and metal, which is you can kind of do this and shake it and rock it down. That's not a big deal. The x360 13-inch doesn't quite do that, but because of the added weight and thickness of this display and metal, it does. That may bother some people. While I'm using it in my lap, it's not a problem. You literally have to shake it, but it will do that. I'm not sure what HP could do there. After all, this does turn to a full tablet, so you need to keep it a little bit loose, but unfortunately, that is just one side effect of having an x360 type device. One of the most important aspects of any laptop is the keyboard. Now, I love the x360 13-inch one. How do I like this? It's even better. For one, the keys are darker, so the backlighting has a better color contrast and just really stands out. You also talk about 1.5 millimeters of key travel, and HP said they focus a lot of time and effort here on the force curves. That's how the key feels as it's bouncing back, and I have to give them credit. It feels really fantastic. In fact, it's better than the Surface Book in my opinion, which feels slightly mushy compared to this. There's also no flex. When you put this laptop down on a desktop, it just feels really good when typing. I'm going to rate this as one of my favorite keyboards to date. Let's talk about that trackpad. HP has a mixed record here, and this device carries the same flaws, in my opinion, as the x360 13-inch. It's Synaptics, and the hardware is really, really good here. It's very wide, it's very smooth, and I love the feel of it. The click is also very consistent. So A+ there. My issue is still the fact that they use Synaptics software, which is getting better, and you can fine-tune this to your needs. And I think most people are going to be totally fine with this. I really don't have any issues with it. I just prefer Microsoft's Precision. I've been pressuring HP to switch over to that, and I think I may be getting closer. We'll have to wait and see, though, to the next version. Overall, though, it's a very good trackpad, but I think they could still do a little bit better. What about audio? HP always does a pretty good job here. They use B&O tuned speakers, and you have the same here. Now, there's only 2 of them. That differs from the 13-inch, which actually had 4. That was kind of cool because when you flipped it to tablet mode, you had those speakers firing at you. It doesn't quite do that here, but these speakers are bigger and more powerful than the ones in the 13-inch, and they have their own amplifiers. They're also upward firing when you're in laptop position, which, let's be honest, is how you'll be using these more often. Overall, they're very good speakers. I wasn't blown away by them, but I'm also kind of impressed by them as well. They're very good, and I'm going to rate them as one of the better speakers out there. They did a great job. Talking about the web camera, it is a full HD one with dual IR cameras and a dual microphone array. That's pretty awesome. It also means you can use it for Windows Hello facial recognition. It's the same one that's found at 13-inch. It works very well here. It's also placed on the top bezel, which is really good if you're doing a job interview or just using this for Skype. So if you're a big fan of using a web camera, you'll really like this one. All right, let's talk about specifications here. You get about 4100 Geekbench score, which is really good. It puts it right up there with the Spectre x360 13-inch, and it's faster than most notebooks out there today, although it's definitely not in the gaming laptop category. Looking at 3D Mark's CloudGate 1.1, which is used for normal PCs, you get a score of 8,185, which is better than 28% of all the results and just slightly beats a gaming laptop from 2013. So overall, pretty good performance. What about battery life? We're talking a 79 watt-hour battery, which is an increase over last year's. That also made the device slightly thicker, and I give HP credit here for doing that. They wanted to give you a little bit extra battery life for that 4K display, and it works out pretty well. Now, they rate the battery at 12 hours. That's on a video loopback. I don't find that too accurate. In real-world usage, you're talking 6 to 8 hours. Plus, you get fast charge. So when you use the included 90-watt charger, you can recharge the battery about 50% in 30 minutes. That's pretty awesome. All right, let's bring it all home. What do I think of this device? In my opinion, HP knocked it out of the park. It's very much like the 13-inch. You're just getting a little bit more stuff here. The build quality is outstanding. Probably one of the best laptops I've used to date. But I really like here is the value. The one we tested here is $14.99. That's with 16 gigs of RAM and 512 gigs of storage. However, you can drop that down to $12.79 and get 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gigabytes of storage. That's a great value because you're still getting that 4K display. Don't forget this also turns into a tablet and comes with that awesome active pen. So you can use this for Windows inking, taking notes, doing whatever you want. I think this is a great laptop for students and those in industry and business who need a productivity machine. Now, last year I recommended the Spectre x360 13-inch as one of my favorite laptops of the year. All that holds true here for the 15-inch version. If you're looking for a device in that category, definitely put it at the top of your list. If you want the full review of the HP Spectre x360 laptop, make sure you head to Windows Central for some high-quality photos and my benchmarks. Remember, if you like this video, give us a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Take care, everybody.